Welcome back to part 2 of the unit Mathematics of Finance, and we will be talking about simple interest in this module. Now to understand what is a simple interest, we'll start with a simple example. Let's say an amount of rupees 1000 is invested for 5 years at 10% simple interest. I want to find out the total amount after 5 years. Okay, so here there is a principal amount P, that is 1000, which is invested for 5 years. So n number of years is 5, and it is invested at 10% interest. So rate of interest we have denoted by R. So R here is 10%. We want to find out the total amount after 5 years. Okay, let's say, so this is the principal amount P, that is 1000. So when I say the rate of interest is 10%, what it means is at the end of every year, whatever is the sum, okay, 10% of this 1000 will get added to that. Let's say at the end of the first year, okay, the amount that I'll have is this 1000, the principal amount, and I'm getting a 10% simple interest on this. So to this 1000 we will add 10% of this 1000, okay, which is 1000 plus 10% of 1000 is 100. So the amount after the first year is rupees 1100. Then again at the end of the second year, to this 1100 we again add 10% of the principal amount, that is 1000, which is, so I have 1100 as it is, and we again add 10% of 1000, which is 100. So the amount that I'll get is 1200. The same way at the end of the third year, to the amount which is there 1200, to this again we add 10% of 1000, the principal amount, I'll get 1300. At the end of the fourth year, the same way if I go, it will be 1400, and at the end of the fifth year the amount will be 1500. So what happens is every time we add 10%, the rate of interest is 10%. So at the end of the year, every year we add 10% of the principal amount to whatever amount that we have. And this is exactly what we do in a simple interest. Okay, so in general what I do is, if I have principal amount P, I find out R percent of it. So R upon 100. Okay, so R percent of the principal amount I add to this principal amount P. Okay, and depending on the number of years that I'm considering here, accordingly this interest I'm adding for those many years. Like here it was for 5 years, so to this principal amount 1000 I added 10% of 1000, that is 100, 5 times 100, then 200, 300, 400 and 500. So there were 5 years, so I added this R percent of the principal amount for 5 years, and that's how I arrived at, and this interest that I got, I added to the principal amount. Okay, what I get is the total amount. Okay, so this part here is actually the interest amount. This is the amount that you invested originally. This is the interest that you got for n years based on the rate of interest. The total of this is the total amount A. Okay, A is the notation, capital A is the notation that we use for total amount. Okay, so if I have to write down this in terms of the formula, so the simple interest formula we write it as, if P is the principal amount that is invested for n years in general at R percent rate of interest, then the total amount is given by A equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 into N. Okay, this comes as a result because to the principal amount P we are adding the interest amount. Interest amount is R upon 100 of P for n number of years. So if I take P common from this, what I'll get is this formula here. So the total amount A is given by this formula. If I have to find out only the interest, then the interest can be written as this formula. It is P into R upon 100 into the number of years. The number of years here I am taking it as T, or we have used it as N here. And the total amount A can be written as the sum of the principal amount plus the interest amount. Or if I want to find out what is the interest that I found out, or interest that I got, it is the total amount minus the principal amount. So if I use the same example here, an amount of 1000 is invested for 5 years at 10% rate of interest. So the principal amount here is 1000 for 5 years, and remember this N is always in terms of number of years. R here is 10%. I want to find out the total amount A after 5 years. So A is given by the formula P into 1 plus R upon 100 into N. Okay, so it is equal to P is 1000 into 1 plus R is 10 upon 100 into N here is 5. So this will be equal to 1000 into 1 plus, this is 5 into 10, 50, 50 upon 100 is 0.5. So I have 1000 into 1.5, which is 1500, which we had already known. We had calculated it earlier. Okay, so this is the total amount after 5 years. If I want to know what is only the interest amount, either I can explicitly find the interest amount, or the interest amount is the total amount minus the principal amount. So total amount 1500 minus the principal amount, it is equal to rupees 500. Or you can also find it by using the formula I is equal to, it is P R upon 100 into N. So if you take it as 1000 into 10 upon 100 into 5, what you will get is 500 here. So either you can explicitly find interest amount by using this formula, or it is I, the interest amount I is A minus B. Okay, so this is a very simple example, and as a formula that is also which is simple. Depending on what is the principal amount, the number of years and the rate of interest, you have to just substitute it in this formula. Okay, except that this N is always in terms of number of years. So let me consider this example here. An amount of 1000 is invested at 10% simple interest. What is the total amount after 8 months? Okay, so in case we are looking at finding the amount after a certain number of months or certain number of days, we'll have to convert the N, that is the number of years, in terms of this months. Okay, or put this months in terms of number of years. So in this case, the principal amount is 1000, rate of interest is 10%. Now in the first question here it is 8 months. So accordingly, when you write down N, it has to be written in terms of number of years. Okay, now this 8 is 8 out of 12 months. Okay, so it is equal to 2 upon 3. So I have converted 8 months in terms of number of years. 8 months is 2/3 of a year. So N is equal to 2 by 3. So if I have to find out the total amount A, it will be equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 into N. So it will be equal to 1000 into 1 plus 10 upon 100 into N will be equal to 2 upon 3. Okay, so if you simplify this and calculate the value, you will get 1066.67. Okay, so in case the number of years is not really given in terms of years, you'll have to convert it in terms of number of years and then you'll substitute it. Like in the second example here, now the period is given in terms of days, so you'll have to convert these days in terms of number of years. So 146 days is 146 out of 365, okay, years. So when you're substituting N in this formula, you will substitute N as 146 out of 365. Okay, this is in terms of number of years. So the total amount A here will be equal to 1000 into 1 plus R upon 100. R is 10 upon 100 and N here is 146 upon 365. So if we compute this, this will come to 1040. So the total amount after 146 days will be 1000 rupees 1040, and the amount after 8 months is going to be rupees 1066.67.